Welcome to Utopia. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and yeah, there's some great things here going on, so it's really great you could come down. Now today I want to talk to you about being a mum on the run, about balancing kids, life, work, husbands, hobbies, passions, how you can have it all, about how life is meant for living, and about how you don't have to sell yourself short. First, let me give you a little bit of introduction. I'm a wife to Dean. That's him just leaving the auditorium with our two wonderful kids. We've been married for almost 7 years now, and I got married quite young, at age 20, and I can honestly say they've been the most amazing years. Dean's kind, he's funny, he's supportive, he's generous, and always encouraging even when I have some crazy out there ideas. We also have two gorgeous kids, Hope and Jed. Hope is almost 3.5 and Jed turns 2 next month. They just light up my life. They bring me so much joy. And being a mum has really been the most amazing journey of all and the biggest learning curve that I could imagine. But I feel so blessed to have these two little treasures to call me their mum. I'm also a journalist and a breakfast announcer at 96.5 Radio here in Brisbane. We're branded as the only station that caters to families, and I've been there for almost 7 years now, which includes my 2 stints of maternity leave, and I've worked on the breakfast shift that whole time too, which means 7 whole years of getting up Monday to Friday at 4:15 a.m. When I started out, I gave myself 3 months of doing early mornings. That somehow turned into 3 years, 5 years, then 7, and here we are today. I'm also a blogger at Mums in the Kitchen, and that's a place where I publish family-friendly recipes that are also cheap, easy, healthy, quick, and of course delicious. The blog's a big collaboration, and most of them aren't my personal recipes, but ones that I just try and source and then pass on to other people. It's for mums, it's for dads, it's for singles, it's for nanas, it's for kids or anyone. I love to cook and to bake, and the blog is really my outlet for that. So do check that one out, Mums in the Kitchen, if you missed that. And as of 6 days ago, I can add one more title, and that is Marathon Runner. Last Sunday, I completed my very first full marathon, all 42.2 kilometres of it on the Gold Coast. It was definitely up there with childbirth as one of the toughest, craziest, but most rewarding things that I've done. The last 2 months have been a huge roller coaster leading up to that event, and I'll give you a bit of an insight into my running journey as we go along. And among all of these commitments, I also have lots of other loves. Reading, I'm a passionate member of a book club with some other local mums in my area. Craft, especially card making. I love a bit of crochet. Following the AFL, the Brisbane Lions, and I also just love connecting with other mums with young kids, because that's obviously really the zone that I'm in at the moment. So you could say that life is pretty busy, but that's the way I love it. Now I'm just going to show you a video right now. I'm just giving you a bit of an insight into the journey of my marathon run on Sunday.
Well, here I am down in the race precinct. The atmosphere is absolutely buzzing, people everywhere. We saw the half marathoners head off, huge group of them. They're really keen. Now all the marathoners are left, everyone's stretching, everyone's gearing up. The atmosphere is just amazing. It's real excitement, real nervousness, real anticipation in the air. We're seeing stories on the big screens about some of the past marathon legends, and that's really inspiring. Also great to just run into a few familiar faces and get some encouragement. And it's about half an hour now till the run starts, so feeling a little bit nervous but mainly excited, and just ready to do a bit of stretching and get this run underway. Can't wait.
What time are you kind of hoping to achieve?
I'm kind of hoping for between 4 and 4.5 hours.
Nice one. Why are you running today?
I'm running because I just really wanted to achieve something big, something crazy, something really out there.
Yep.
I wanted to be a bit of an inspiration to my 2 young kids,
Yep.
and I just really am running for them today.
Awesome. Quick say hello.
Hey! Hi Hope, hi Jed! Okay, the starting gun has just gone, but we've still got a little while to get actually to the start line. So the crowd is amazing, the atmosphere is great, there's helicopters in the sky. I'm just really excited to do this. We're over. We've started, let's do it!
So my running journey began last February when I embarked on a mission to lose that unwanted baby weight. My kids were 2 and 6 months at the time, and I'd been trying to walk a lot with the pram to try and stay fit, but it just wasn't really cutting it in shedding the kilos. So very reluctantly, I started jogging. It was a huge struggle, and even 1 kilometre was a big effort, but pretty soon I realised there was a bit of an ulterior motive. This half hour, usually at 5 a.m. before the kids got moving, or in the afternoon when the husband was home from work, it was pretty much the only child-free time I was getting. We live on the bay and we have the most stunning views of the waterfront along a nice, flat, even path. Well, this was all the motivation I needed, and I tried to get out for about 3 runs a week. 5Ks was about my max for a while, and on one of these blissfully alone shuffles, I realised I was actually enjoying the run. What? Enjoying a run? I didn't even know it was possible. But from that moment onwards, I ran at every opportunity I could. It wasn't much, considering I had 2 kids under 2 and had to work around Dean's work schedule as well. But I fell in love with running so much that even after an interrupted night's sleep with the baby, I'd set the alarm for 5 a.m, express some milk so I wasn't running with rock-hard boobs, and head off before the household woke up. It was simply a matter of prioritising and doing what I really enjoyed. My distances gradually increased until I reached a half marathon. It was a huge achievement for me, a total non-runner just a few months before. And it also made me realise the power of mindset and how believing in yourself can really help you achieve incredible potential. When people ask me if running 21 kilometres was something that I'd aspired to do for a long time, the simple answer was no. Because I had never believed or even dared to imagine that I could ever do such a thing. And that, I think, is what made it a lot sweeter. I went on to do 2 more half marathons over the next few weeks, under 2 hours, another achievement I was really proud of. I lost the baby weight and more, and kept on running when I could for enjoyment. And by this stage, I'd gone back to work part-time after my maternity leave came to an end. Now, as I mentioned, work for me is at 96.5 Radio. I'm the news director there, which involves researching, compiling, writing and presenting news bulletins every half an hour during the breakfast shift. I also do interviews, cut and edit grabs, do dozens of segments as part of the Brekkie team, like entertainment news, political chats, sport rundowns, social commentary, and lots more. We have a lot of fun and laughs, and most of the time, I really do love going to work. But I found it really tough going back after having baby number 2. I had been due to go back when Jed was about 5 months old, but as the date approached, it just wasn't sitting right, and the idea of it was making me feel pretty upset. So we reassessed and decided to give it another 3 months. I really treasured that extra time at home and really tried to make the most of it. And I felt ready when the baby was 8 months, and I was so grateful that I'd had that bonus time with the kids, even though at the time, financially, we couldn't really afford it. But you know what? A little bit of credit card debt was worth it, and I really wouldn't change it. I guess the moral to that little story is that you might have made plans, but deep down, it's just not sitting right. But don't be afraid to make changes and to prioritise, and you'll know what you have to do. For me, with the kids so young, family had to come first, and I knew that going back to work would not be the right balance at that point in time. It's really important to just be kind to yourself. So my work day looks like this. The alarm goes at 4:15 every weekday morning. I pick up my clothes and everything the night before so I don't waste time standing in front of the wardrobe. I have my getting ready routine down to a finely tuned art, so I'm dressed, hair, makeup, everything done out the door in under 15 minutes. I start work at 5 a.m. when I sift through the emails, sort through the news wires, monitor the TV news bulletins, and start prepping for my first bulletin at 6. The rest of the morning is a bit of a blur, really, of updating and rewriting bulletins to deliver every half an hour. In between on-air segments, prepping food for my co-host to sample for my blog segment, which happens 3 times a week, and generally creating informative and engaging content, all of which is targeted towards Brisbane families and is safe for the ears of the kids in the car on their way to school. There is such a market for safe, family-friendly content, and I'm really passionate about the station's place in society. I find it a bit scary what is passed as socially acceptable in a lot of mainstream media, and I think kids need all the encouragement and clean, positive messages that they can get. There's enough negativity and morally questionable content out there, so it is refreshing to be part of a clean and fun voice for the city. So my workday finishes at 9 a.m. Not bad, is it? My husband Dean does the morning routine with the 2 kids every day. He then brings them into me at the station at 9 and we do a bit of a tag team handover. He heads off to work. He's a filmmaker, so he's writing, directing, filming ads and TV shows and documentaries and all sorts. He's just at a production company in the Valley. So his workday starts after he deposits the kids back to me, which unfortunately does mean he's usually only home from work fairly late. But from 9 a.m. onwards, I get to spend the day with my 2 treasures. And most days we're pretty occupied with things like mum's group, play group, mainly music, swimming, dancing, play dates, and of course all the housewife necessities like cooking and cleaning. But it is a wonderful balance, and while some days I would love to send them off to daycare, I really do treasure the time I get to invest in their lives. I love that we're a little team and we do have a lot of fun together. And we're also fortunate to have both sets of grandparents living fairly close by. So the 2 wonderful nanas do come and help out with the kids on a fairly regular basis. And I just think it's so important to feel the balance in your life, but that looks so different for everyone. I've always said that if we feel our family balance is getting out of whack, we will just change our work situation somehow to bring it back in check. And for me, there's no real compromise for that. Now, I've just got a next instalment of the marathon.
Okay, we've just passed the 10k mark.
No, we haven't.
Okay.
Past the 9k mark.
9k mark. Feeling pretty good. Things are going well. Nice steady pace. This is the 4:15 pacer.
Hi,
Andrew.
What's the medium to big guy?
Andrew's doing his 22nd marathon. Can you briefly tell us your little marathon story?
My little marathon. Well, I was sitting in a pub in London and I was on about 6 pints and I was about 30 kilos heavier than I am now, and someone dared me to do a marathon. So
it was a dare,
yeah,
and now here you are.
Haven't stopped. Okay.
Amazing. Have you done pacing before?
It's my 3rd time. So I've done 2 at Canberra, and this is my first pacing at Gold Coast. Yeah.
Coming the other way are the leaders of the pack. Oh, Endura. They're going about twice as fast as we are, so they are fast. Water stop. Taking some Endura at this one. Keep me going. Just past the halfway point, which is a great milestone, but the hard half is to come. Feeling not too bad. Still sticking with the 4:15 pace guy, so I'm happy about that. Feet are getting a bit tired. Thighs are a little bit sore, but overall not too bad.
still a pretty big crowd around. A lot of people. The supporters lining the streets are amazing. It really gives you a big boost. All right, so back to the running story. As I got more active, I started hearing about this event called Parkrun. People spoke of this amazing running group and how much they loved getting out on a weekly basis to run 5Ks. At that stage, pretty much it was just at New Farm Park. I never made it there as I felt it was a bit too far to travel, too hard to work around the kids' Saturday morning swimming lessons. I heard whispers about a group starting up at Sandgate and longed to see it come to my doorstep. So last September, I saw a post on Facebook calling for any volunteers to be involved in a parkrun at Sandgate. I emailed Tim, who oversees Parkrun Australia, and he suggested I be the one to start it up. I instantly thought of 1,000 excuses, including my kids are only 1 and 2. How could I possibly do it? And how could I fit it into my schedule between family, work, and exercise? And I'm not even a serious runner. Of course, none of these were really valid, and so after talking it over with Dean, we decided to take it on as a team. Sandgate Parkrun launched on November 24, 2012. We had a front page write-up in the local paper and a great turnout. And I've just got a little snapshot here of what we do every Saturday morning.
Parkrun is a worldwide running phenomenon where people gather in locations right across Australia, right around the world on a Saturday morning, same time every week for a free weekly 5K timed run. It's just a fantastic community event. We love it because it brings together people of all abilities, all ages. We have 5-year-olds who do it. We have people in their 80s who do it. Everyone just has a good time.
Thank you, Rob, for the warm-up. Round of applause for Rob. Hope you're all feeling nice and ready to run. Just as always, remember to respect other people on the path, especially other pedestrians and cyclists. Keep to the left, and other people's safety and everything is most important. So just keep that in mind.
Sandgate Park runners are passionate, they are community minded, they are friendly, they're always looking out for other people, and they're really fast too. We get some really good times down at Sandgate Parkrun, but everyone helps out other people and we just have the best community vibe. It does mean a pretty early start every Saturday morning, but you know, you do it for the love of it, and here at a beautiful location like this, there's just no better way to kick off the weekend than with other people in the community. We bring the kids down, they have their breakfast down here, there's always families, people of all ages. It's just a wonderful community event, and there's just no better way to kick off the weekend. It's really not about what placing you come or where you are. It's just more about, you know, promoting health and fitness in the community and just getting out there. People just love telling other people about it, and we're just experiencing great numbers because we've got this perfect location and it's just such a fun thing to be part of.
Well done, guys. Strongly. Woo! You can do it. Right.
Dean and I try and take turns each week to be event director or do the 5K run ourselves with the kids in the pram. And so we really get the best of both worlds. Parkruns are popping up all over the place now, and there's sure to be one near you. They're now at, there's New Farm, South Bank, Mitchelton, North Lakes, Wynnum, Cleveland, Augustine Heights. They're just everywhere. So if you haven't checked one out yet, I highly recommend that you do. We hear life-changing stories all the time of how parkrun has helped people to turn their lives around. So it really is such a wonderful thing to be a part of. So it was around this same time that we decided to make a big financial investment that's definitely changed our lives for the better. My running had hit a bit of a hurdle thanks to our always busy schedules. So between our work hours, I was lucky to be getting in 1 to 2 runs a week, which was far less than what I wanted. So we did some research and got ourselves a running pram. So the cruiser takes both kids, it has a big fixed front wheels which also attaches to a bike and just gives us the freedom to run anytime. And it's really given me the opportunity to take my running to the next level, and without it there's no way I would have been able to train for a marathon. Again, it's about priorities and knowing that the investment would reap rewards in the long run. So with my running taking off again on January 1 of this year, I got out my goal book, as I always do on New Year's Day. I wrote down a few aspirations for the coming year, ones to do with family, work, finance, fun, and then I thought about my health and fitness goals, and I hesitated before putting it into writing. Should I, shouldn't I? Then I set the scariest, most exciting, most ambitious goal I've ever dared to dream, to run a marathon. I had no idea if it was even realistic to put it in writing or what it would mean, but I just had this desire in me to do something huge, to set a crazy, out there goal and work towards achieving it. So I wrote it down and I blogged it because that meant that I really would have to do it. It was exciting to start doing some reading and research and realise that I really could make this happen. So the training began, but I didn't really start to follow a set program until about 3 to 4 months out. I just tried to stick to about 4 to 5 runs a week, mostly 5 to 10 Ks per run. I'd mix it up with some hills, some short but fast, some long and slow, and a bit later on I added a weekly group speed session, which I also loved. I realised that training for a marathon is not really about the day. It's definitely about the commitment to training, which does get very full on. At the peak of training, I was running about 55 Ks a week. Up to about 30 of that was on a weekly long run, which is a big commitment in itself. First of all, we'd have to schedule in whatever chunk of the weekend wasn't already booked up, and we'd have to arrange a babysitter for the kids. Then it's planning the route for the long run, stocking up on supplies like jelly beans, blister strips and the like. You also have to be mindful of nutrition and eating the right foods before, during and after the run. But training went really smoothly, and I had my fair share of runs that were a real struggle, but I felt like I was really learning a lot along the way. Learning about fueling my body, about what to wear, about how to prevent things like blisters and chafing, all very important things in the lead up to a marathon. I was loving running, and with a specific focus, I was really motivated and was finding it quite easy to stay on track. And I had so much support, not just the family support for looking after the kids on the long runs, but also my husband Dean, who had also pledged to run the marathon alongside me. I also had blog readers, radio listeners and park runners who gave me so much encouragement and positive feedback along the way. I couldn't believe how well training was going, and I felt really confident about the upcoming run. Then there was also the support of my kids. Let me tell you about my daughter Hope. She is 3 and her favourite colour is pink. She loves Dora, she loves Angelina Ballerina. She's my biggest supporter and the best personal trainer that I could ask for. While she pulls on a pink tutu as much as any other 3-year-old, she also loves to don her sneakers and go for a good old run around the park. After going to her first Lions match a few months ago, she now also dreams of playing football. But she's always asking as well if she's old enough to do the 5K park run by herself. She can't wait. She's a constant source of encouragement as I run with the pram, and I often hear calls of "faster mummy" or "you can do it." She's a welcome source of distraction as we run along too. She always wants to know what each footpath sign says or what that lady's name is, or most importantly, if we're at the playground yet. A couple of months back, I decided to do some hill runs with the pram. I wasn't really feeling super energetic that day, so I told myself I'd just do 3 laps. Well, Hope had different ideas. She announced we were doing 5. I got to the end of 4 and was feeling pretty exhausted and said, okay, I think it's time to go home. But this little voice from the pram calls out, "No, Mummy, that's only 4, 1 more to go." Well, what could I do but 1 more lap? She's pretty good at counting. Whenever she sees me doing push-ups or squats or sit-ups, she always wants a turn. She helps me count, or she sits on my lap, or she takes over herself. And she loves to stretch as well, so I always have company when I'm doing so. I love that an active and healthy lifestyle is part of the kids' everyday lives. They look forward to parkrun every Saturday so much, and I love that they're around a community of runners so regularly. They're the reason that I embarked on this marathon journey, and they motivate me each time I get out there. And as I kissed Hope goodbye to head to the Gold Coast last weekend for the marathon, she looked at me and she said, "I'm so proud of you, Mummy." And that really was all the motivation that I needed. It's not always easy being a runner or a running mum or a working running mum. Sometimes I do wish that I'd jumped on the marathon bandwagon before I had kids, because I had so much more time back then. I'd have heaps more opportunities to run, nothing to hold me back. But of course, it's all part of the journey, and the accomplishment really means so much more that I'm doing it at this stage of life. I'm a pretty positive person and an optimist through and through, but there are some things that really suck about being a working, running mum. There's having to call on favours so much for babysitting, but we are so fortunate to have the family support. There's getting home from a 30k run, grabbing a drink, then having to cook dinner, clean the house, bath the kids, read bedtime stories, put the kids to bed, when all you really want to do is just have a big stretch and a soak in the bath. There's getting up for work early every weekday, and then after the shift, doing activities with the kids, then having enough energy to run with them in the pram in the afternoon, when some days you're just plain tired. There's never really getting a sleep in. There's wanting desperately to go to a weekly yoga or Pilates class, but just lacking the time, or having the husband travelling, so that just doesn't happen. There's having to push a pram into the headwind while running. It gets pretty tough. Having to stop on runs to break up fights in the pram. She's pulling my hair. He's not sharing. It can get pretty frustrating. And there's just that feeling that there's just not enough hours in the day sometimes. But you know what? I committed to that marathon, and I knew it was a choice that I wouldn't regret. And it is one that I hope I can be proud of for the rest of my life. It's a way to be a positive role model for my kids and to other mums and women, to say, you have potential. Don't sell yourself short. Believe in yourself, because who you were is not who you have to be. You can achieve great things. So I built my way up to about 32 kilometres, and that particular run was a really tough one, and I had some real struggles in the final few Ks. But I got it done and was happy to tick that off the list. But a couple of days later, I went along to my weekly speed session, and my legs were feeling really quite sore, and so I only managed a few Ks. I gave it a couple more days, then a couple more, before the penny dropped that something was up. I self-diagnosed with the help of Dr. Google, but a few days later it was confirmed by a runner slash physio slash podiatrist who I went to see, and it was the dreaded shin splints. Basically, that happens when the muscle starts to come away from the bone and causes pain in your lower legs. In extreme cases, it can lead to stress fractures, but this happened 6 weeks out from the marathon. Talk about frustrating. I was just told to rest for an indefinite amount of time until they felt better, not what I wanted to hear. So I went from over 50 Ks a week to no running at all. Amazingly, I had no pain while cycling, so I tried to get out on the bike as much as I could. Thankfully, the pram has a bike attachment, so I was able to take the kids out in the afternoons and check out some of the playgrounds that are usually a bit too far to walk or run to. But the major frustration was that there was no time frame on recovery, which totally left the marathon in limbo. Surely 6 weeks would be enough, but it was such bad timing for getting in my last couple of long runs and staying in peak shape for the day. As it turned out, about 2.5 weeks later, they had healed up, and I did a 5k run, felt great, so headed out for a 22-kilometre run, completely on grass, just so I wouldn't have that same impact as I usually do on the concrete. So this meant 11 laps of a nearby sports field. It just about drove me crazy, but I got it done and it was great, no shin pain. The marathon was back on. I was really excited to have my goal back on track and was able to squeeze in the last 3 weeks of training. 2 days later, the shin pain returned. Talk about 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So my plan changed again. Keep on cycling, keep on resting, icing, massaging, stretching, and do no more running until the marathon. I just couldn't risk the pain flaring up again and jeopardizing my chances. That was the hardest stretch, mentally and physically. Despite the bike riding, I knew that I wasn't maintaining my fitness where it had been. I hated not being able to run. Here I was, just weeks out from the event that I'd had my sights set on all year, and I'm sitting at home, twiddling my thumbs. It also made me feel out of the loop. When training was good and regular and consistent, I was so in the zone. But now I was just on the sidelines looking in with my mind not in the game. But still, I vowed to line up for the marathon so long as I was not starting with any pain. I'd worked for too long, too hard for this, so I just didn't want to let the opportunity slip by. I just hoped and prayed that the consistency and intensity of my training up until the shin splints happened would be enough to get me through on the day. Surely 18 months of regular running isn't lost with 6 weeks sitting out. 1 week out and I was pretty much packing it. I knew I had to be mentally tough to get through the run, so I made a plan. I needed positive thinking, I needed to get my mind back in the game, I needed a mantra, a phrase on repeat that I could use to get me through the hard times of the run. I stuck this mantra up on the fridge, in my bedroom, in my office, and I used it to get in the zone all the week. And this is what it was. I'm strong, I'm tough, I believe in myself. We're just going to watch the final installment.
Just coming up to the 32k mark. This is the longest I've ever run.
Morning all.
About 10k's to go. I'm stuffed, but come way too far to stop now.
Yeah, plenty of smiles in that group. You haven't got that on, have you?
Just past the turnaround. Approaching 37, which means a bit over 5k to go. This is tough. Passing a lot of walkers. A lot of people are walking. This is where I've really just got to dig deep, because all I want to do is walk. But I feel like I've come too far to stop. And 5k's out of all the training I've done, everything leading up to this point is nothing. So I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other. I'm not going to walk. I'm going to get there, and can't wait to cross that finish line. Headwind, absolutely spent, everything hurts. Haven't walked, 2k's to go. This right here, this is what sets us apart from the rest.
I just want to say also congratulations to all the first timers. In particular, my wife, she couldn't walk a week ago, and she's just done a first half marathon. So Kathy, I love you and I'm so proud of you. Well done. All the first timers that goes for too.
Craziest,
thanks, mate. Luke and Brad,
toughest,
great work. I'm sure you're going to be
hardest, most rewarding thing ever. I'm so glad it's over. I can't believe I did it. It's the feeling ever. It's over. Words can't really describe. It's just such a sense of achievement. This was never even on my radar.
I never thought I could do anything like this. This is the best. I did it. Marathon runner.
So I did it. I ran a marathon. I didn't go out to break any land speed records, but I just drew on the atmosphere, the memory of all that training, the image of my precious kids, my husband who had to sacrifice his own run through injury, but he was there for me every step of the way, for all the supporters who'd encouraged me and believed in me and told me I could do it. That video you watched just got shared on the Gold Coast Marathon official Facebook page. And within hours, there were over 100 comments, 600 likes. My inbox was filled with encouragement. I was just blown away and so humbled by the response. And some of these messages just made it all worthwhile. I just wanted to share a few with you. Julie wrote to me, "Hi Vanessa, I belong to a little running group with a handful of 40-somethings called the Halfies. 6 months ago, we decided to commit to a half marathon, which we'll do in Brisbane on the 4th of August. After we saw your video today, you've inspired us to commit to the Gold Coast Full Marathon in 2014. Your video brought us all to tears. We are, after all, emotional old ladies. And I just wanted to let you know how much you touched and inspired us. Congratulations. We hope to see you on the start line next year." One from Mel. "I watched your video of your first marathon. I was in tears by the end. Congrats. I did the 10K for the 3rd year in a row, but I'm starting to believe that I could do a marathon one day. Well done to you." Carly wrote, "Hi Vanessa, watched your video, truly inspiring. I'm so happy for you. I'm currently training for my first marathon in Melbourne in October after losing 20 kilos late last year. My original goal was to complete the half marathon at Melbourne, which is in a couple of weeks, but never in my wildest dream would I ever think of completing a marathon. But here I am, registered and completing a grueling training program. Your video has truly inspired me to keep going and achieve this crazy dream. Whenever I feel like it's too hard, I'm going to watch your video and see that it's truly worth it." And from Kath, "I just watched your video from the Gold Coast, so I want to tell you that it was an awesome effort. I finished the half, and now watching your video full of tears rolling down my face, you've more than inspired me to go the marathon. You should be so proud." So what's your marathon? What's your crazy out there goal? Being a mum doesn't mean that you have to give up on your own dreams and aspirations. Embrace life, prioritise. You'll be amazed by how much you can fit into your day when you plan it out, marking in those non-negotiables. Don't live under the cloud of self-doubt that gets planted in your mind. There's so much more to life. It's not about bragging to the tired new mum that your newborn slept 12 hours a night from 3 days old. It's not about being conceited or feeling superior to your friends. It's not about sprouting how wonderful you are every day on Facebook, but it's also not about, as they say, pushing half of your brain out with your placenta, or burying your own hopes and aspirations simply because you're a mum. It's about celebrating the victories, no matter what size. It's about realising that when you're happy, your family reaps the benefits. It's about embracing something for yourself, setting some goals, being kind to yourself, and giving yourself a pat on the back, because you're an inspiration and you can achieve great things. You can hold your head high and celebrate what you've done, what you can do. Don't underestimate your value and don't sell yourself short. Thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. Happy to answer any questions. I'm going to be at the parkrun stall for a little bit today, so come and say hi, or feel free to just contact me anyway. But thank you so much for coming along today, and I hope you really enjoy the day. Thank you.